what is your threshold? Let's say Cory Booker runs in 2020 and he actually and Donald Trump continues on the same exact path. I mean, ravaging the country the way he's doing. What's your threshold on neoliberalism and supporting it to getting rid of Trump?
None. You know why? Because that's what they're hoping for, right? It's like so I would be.
At the same time as they before you finish that thought, at the same time they're hoping for that. The reality of it is Trump is thrashing the United States in every way he can, and it's only been 3 weeks in.
It's funny, right? So like, I was kind of ambivalent about Trump up until he got in, and like the past 3 weeks, it's like America in 2017. I tweeted this out earlier. America in 2017 is like a satirical piece criticizing American politics and society between the years of 2001 and 2016. Like, it's everything that's been going on for the past 16 years taken to its like extreme, like to the nth degree. Like, I mean, like, and this is where I have a problem with people who are trying to find, you know, a basis in everything that Trump does with things that Obama did or Clinton did or George W. Bush. It's like, yes, there's a basis, but you are ignoring that he's taking it way far beyond where anyone thought it would ever go. And so, yeah, maybe we would eventually got there, but like, let's
he's accelerating it.
Yeah, he's not an anomaly, but he is extreme. Yeah. And like so, like, I think that seems to be make. But so,
I think Cory Booker is a bad example because I don't think I could even support Cory Booker. What about Elizabeth Warren?
Well, that depends on how she acts over the next 4 years, right? That depends on how she like what she does over the next 4 because she's not very popular right now. Like she's like, people on the right don't like her and progressives don't like her because, you know, she's talking about how, you know, she was silenced by Mitch McConnell, but she's silenced herself
her right now because, you know what, once they put that race spin on it and it was silencing Coretta Scott King and the Republicans are racist. There are progressives pushing that bullshit there. They are progressive. I'm telling you, Reverend Dr. Barber, however you say his, whichever way you do his titles, wrote a piece in The Nation all about how this is prime systemic racism because of Ms. Warren's silencing. And again, if you guys go back and watch last night's episode, that Ben really laid it out. He went through the video and showed step by step. It was the first time they stopped her. She was quoting Ted Kennedy. She was giving her remarks. She was quoting Ted Kennedy. Then the next time it was a woman from like up Massachusetts or something.
Maura Healey from Massachusetts, yeah.
Specifically on the issue of women's health issues. And then the third time when she finally gets told to sit down was the Coretta Scott King letter. But they have been telling her. Now, again, whether or not it's right for this way to be set out or whatever, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it also this is similar to like in court cases in criminal law, you cannot bring up character evidence not in character information not in evidence. It has to already be brought up by that person. So you can like impeach a witness on character evidence, but you can't just automatically assault their character just in general. It has to be very, very specific. But I think in this case, the stuff she was trying to report was very specific. But at this time, you could tell the Republicans were just tired. They're like, look, y'all want to do all this grandstanding and you want to hold your conferences and stuff like that. We got the votes. We don't need this, but you're going to do it anyway. But this she resisted stuff. There are people who are among because they're afraid. Because here's the thing: like liberals, progressives are being afraid of being racist.
Well, here's the thing. Wait,
Brandon. I wanted to just
go ahead.
Say two things. First of all, and I can't put myself on screen. I just don't have the setup right now. But with people latching on to the racist factor and being big fans of Warren all of a sudden again. I think that's what a large portion of people. I wouldn't even say that they're diehard progressives or diehard anything. It's just it's just like they latch onto whatever's hip or cool at the moment.
Right.
It's a large sector of our society, of our population that just latch onto it in the moment. Like, you know, unfortunately with No Dapple, with anything else, they latch onto these little things that are big in the moment and then it drifts away and it's gone. So I think that's one aspect of it. But the other thing, and then I'll hand it to Brandon, and then actually this next clip really attacks Democrats. But the other thing right now with Democrats is that I think they fucked up and they don't realize it yet. But they really have. And if they have, they're trying to play it off and trying to ignore it. But this is a problem you can't ignore. Yes, they may win the presidency in 2020 if they're lucky. And they'll have better odds after Trump really fucks up in 2024. But winning the presidency is not going to solve problems. Right now, as someone in New York, I don't have someone to really vote for on the congressional level. I have no person that I'm really interested in voting for on the Democratic ticket. So they're not going to be an option to me. I'm gonna vote third party, and it's not going to be someone that wins because no one's truly viable right now. So when it comes to the larger picture outside of just the Oval Office, because the Oval Office is not the end-all be-all, it doesn't do everything that we need. They've screwed up and they don't have a long game.
So here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to say. I don't want to get too deep into Elizabeth Warren right now, but I would disagree. I think that like people who are truly progressive, people who are really mired in this sort of thing, like I think there's a little bit of love lost between progressive and Elizabeth Warren that she's been trying to get back over the past. After in the wake of the primary, and I think that a lot of progressives have become hip to the fact that she is a grandstander. A lot of progressives have become hip to the fact that she doesn't actually, Consumer Protection Bureau is great, but apart from that sort of stuff, her main shtick is getting in front of a hearing, and wagging her finger at people like a disappointed school teacher, but nothing ever changes. And and like that, she's not there on other key progressive issues. She's very much a grandstander. She's very much a barker, but not a biter. And okay, whatever. But it's like she's just not there for the totality of progressive causes. And when she had the chance to actually speak out for not just speak out against Trump, but to speak out against the things that led to Trump, she chose to remain silent for political expediency. And so I don't think she's doing that well with progressives as she thinks or not. And I think she knows that she messed up, and I think she's trying to get that stuff back. But what I will say is this: answer Ben the original question. The reason why I am not a lot hard on the Democratic Party, because I will never forget that this outcome, this Trump outcome, was preferable to them. Right? This was a preferable outcome to them over Bernie Sanders, because they understood that what it meant that 2020 could mean, okay, well, if we lose in 2016 to neo-fascist, whatever, that's not going to really destabilize the internal power dynamics of the Democratic Party to the degree that losing the primary to a socialist would. Because that would be until we can't come back from. Because it's like people pointed out, no state that has ever gone to universal health care has ever come back. No state that gets something socialist ever gives it back up willingly. And let's not get into the nuance of that. But the problem is, so I'm very critical of who I would vote for in them, because this was part of their plan. I feel like this is all part of their plan, because this was a preferable outcome. Like they wanted to raise the Piper candidates. We saw that. They put them up, because they thought it'd make her easier to push through. It didn't. She still lost. And now they are relying on the fact that, hey, Trump is so bad that the Democrats will vote for anybody. And like they will just vote for anybody. And so I refuse to go along with their plans. I refuse, and so I guess I'm being contrary for the sake of being contrary. But like I recognize that this whole Cory Booker thing, or Kirsten Gillibrand is another one. Let's be honest, is like it falls in step with what we know to be true about them and their plan. Because let's to finish up.
I think maybe I need to flip the question on its head and let you finish up. Flip the question on what does Trump have to do for you to fold up shop and just be like, hell, I'll give me whoever they give me? Because the reason I'm asking that is because we are in La La Land here. We're in Oz. We're not in Kansas anymore. We're in a weird place where he's doing some stuff that even surprised me, and I have a hell of an imagination. So I'm curious, what could he do for you to photo shop and just like give me Cory Booker? Here's
the thing, right? So like the Democratic Party, and this is something I always critiqued about them. I'll say this way. preempt with your answer question. I think it's a false choice, right? And not for the reason that a lot of people felt that the choice between Clinton and Trump was a false choice. But here's what to put forth, so people can visualize this. Here's what the Democrats want for America. They want America perched on the precipice of neoliberalism, dangling over the pit of neo-fascism eternally. They don't want to correct the structural causes of racism or sexism or xenophobia. They don't want to correct the material and social realities that lead people to turn to racism, sexism, and xenophobia. All they want to do is keep America perched on that cliff face and just dangling above neo-fascism.
I'm going to push you a little harder, Brandon. I'm going to push you a little harder. Just cause. Why the hell not? It's 11 o'clock at night.
10:45.
That's because it's all academic right now. But once he puts once he gets a single more appointment on the Supreme Court, he can overturn Roe v. Wade, and that doesn't put any sense of urgency for you to say, okay, I'll just go with Elizabeth Warren.
And here's what I'd say to that: Roe v. Wade has been turned back since it was passed. They've been turning back Roe v. Wade since the day after it was passed. Same with the Voting Rights Act. They've been scaling it back, and that's the problem because the Democrats don't want to actually.
Okay, let's go one step because they've been chipping away at chipping away at the New Deal.
It's a cycle.
But there's a difference between chipping away and now it's illegal in the land across the land unless you're individual state. So I mean, so it sounds like to me that there's nothing that Trump could do. What about Trump taking us to a literal war with Iran?
No. I would know. Here's the thing. I would always vote for the lesser evil, right? But my point is this: it's a false choice because within this structure, Trump is an inevitability because we always get back there. We simply unless you correct the causes in the underlying structural inequality.
What about camps? What about actual internment camps?
No, I said already that I would vote. No. I'm saying that for where we are right now, I would, of course, if given the choice between Cory Booker and Trump, vote for Cory Booker. But my larger point is this: within that structure, what we would simply have is 5 Cory Bookers in a row, then Trump again. 5 Cory Bookers in a row, and then Trump again. And what the Democrats are not going to do in any real way is measurably scale back on neoliberalism so that we never get Trump again. What they will do is they will accept the fact that we will exist within this cycle where, hey, every 4 presidents, every 2 presidents, every 1 president, every other president, we get Trump, and people start begging for the yoke of neoliberalism to escape neo-fascism. And so my point, as part of this resistance, while we still have time before 2020, we need to make it very clear that there is no answer in the Democratic Party to Trump as it exists under Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. All there is the promise that you can avoid Trump for 4 more years. Then that promise becomes untenable because you can't avoid him forever. You eventually have to start tackling the problems that lead us to Trump, and they don't want to do that.
And before you go in there,
I want let me finish it with this thought because it's real. So I see Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Cory Booker. I see them as that we should be opposing, and there we need to push. Like I said I forgot what night, the Overton window should completely exclude Trump and the alt-right and Nazis. They need to be devastated and destroyed, and so that the only conversation and the only debate that's left in America is between the Cory Booker right and the progressive left, because that's the only real debate. Right. If you think about it, the only robust debate that we had in this election was between the differences between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. By the time we got to the insanity of Donald Trump, it was just so insane that it was untenable.
Well,
go ahead.
Sorry. But the reason why we can't do that, right, is because, and we talked about this on Politics and Grits on Sunday, which you can catch on Sunday live from 10 to 12 Eastern, is that all across the world, all around the world, the neoliberals have taken over the left. And what they've done is they've silenced leftist populism.
But we've shaken that up this year, right? Bernie Sanders 100% shook that up, and it's up to us to finalize that.
So let me finish my point, right? And so the point with that is that you can't exclude Trump and the alt-right from the Overton window if those who are in charge of the right do not treat the alt-right and the Trumps with the same amount of, I don't know what you call it, vehemence, they don't consider them non-starters because the right does not treat its base the same way the neoliberal left treats its base, and that's why we have the sister soldier moments. The neoliberal left is constantly demoralizing, beating down, telling the left that they're bad. And so,
but you missed a key point. A key point for you before you finish your analysis, because I see where you're going. But the key point is that the progressives no longer need to be the base for the Democratic Party.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like we have to completely remove ourselves from them. And I don't want to call it third party. I don't care what you call it, but it needs to be a strong enough coalition to no longer be the base of the Democratic Party. Therefore, we don't have to wait for the Democrats to say whether or not our conversations can be inside of the Overton window. But part of what we have to do in that process is not only separate ourselves from the Democratic Party, but also do what we can to devastate the far right, which in so many ways should not be in the Overton window. Because as we talk about punching Nazis, because we don't want that inside of our national conversation, our national discourse, we should also be talking about politically punching the far right outside of the Overton window. And the only way we can do that really is to both and. We have to separate ourselves from the Democratic Party and say what they don't want us to say. And so long as they have their thumbs on our back, we won't be able to say it.
I'm going to let Ben finish his own statement on that one in this clip, because that is a perfect segue, actually. I think Ben planned that, actually.
No, I didn't. I have no idea what this clip is, I swear.
This was a recent one, but this one pretty much goes there. It's time to divorce the Democrats.
That they want no parts of progressivism. They have made it clear that they would rather fight this fight without their base. They don't want us to speak up. They don't want us to participate. They want us gone. So why would we stay where we are not wanted? Quite frankly, you can have the Democratic Party. Take them and keep them. You can have Cory Booker. Please, we'll take Nina Turner. You can have Chuck Schumer. We'll take Keith Ellison. You can have Neera Tanden and the Center for American Progress, and we will take the Progressive Army. And when we think about it this way, when you put it this way, we quickly realize that the Democratic Party has been nothing but that self-centered, abusive spouse who wants us to feel so miserable about ourselves that we would be too afraid and too unsure of ourselves to ever realize that we have been doing them a favor by staying with a washed up former star. And once you realize this, it becomes so much easier for us to issue our Dear John letter to the establishment. So, dear Democrats, by the time you read these lines, we will be gone. Gone organizing a movement that you cannot control, that you cannot put in check, and most of all, you cannot silence.
The Benjamin Dixon Show.
Well, there you go.
We weren't at the end yet. So it was a perfect segue because it really has reached that point, at least in my mind. That night, I think you pretty much finally caught up with some of your most extreme viewers. There's other ones that are even more further left, but I feel like that night when you reached that point, it was like that really is where we've gotten to. It's kind of like there's no going back at this point. We can push the Democrats because those that are in power still need to be held to the fire, but we can't keep just blindly following along and going ahead with wherever they try to lead us.
Yeah, the only difficulty, it's time for us to do what we're doing now. And I think what we're doing now, I've not seen in the 16 years, 2017, so 19 years that I've been voting. So 19 years that I've been participating in this political system, I've not seen an organized left that poses a potential. We're not there yet, but we pose a potential threat to the Democratic Party and the way the Democratic Party is set up, the way my bank account is set up, but the way the Democratic Party is set up, they are the Republican Party and they are our political rivals. But the difficulty that I see some progressives having is being able to multitask and to do both, and to fight to destroy Trump and his minions, as well as to fight to separate ourselves from the Democratic Party, so that real progressivism and leftist politics can be in the. Because think about it, the only people who are outside the Overton window right now is us. Nazis are inside of the Overton window, and we're not.
Because, like I said earlier, the left is the far left are the only people who are trying to disrupt the status quo. Nazis aren't. I mean, the establishment, like fascism, or rather, capitalism is just fascism without the violence, right? That's the old saying. And so the people on the left want to disrupt the status quo, insofar that, yeah, the goal is to work with the Democrats, not within them, because the
you took my I was going to read his comment.
Wait,
Yankee in the chat room said progressives could work with Democrats, but not within the Democratic Party.
Yeah, that's my quote. He stole it from me from earlier. But the point is that, like, the price of admission and the demands of that structure are just too high, and we've seen that because you can't be a progressive within that party in any real way, because the thing that you have to say, the demands, both ideologically and performative, are like they're just antithetical to everything we believe in.